Hello, my name is Molly and this is Mercurial Vellum Astrology. So today I wanted to go through some of the main ideas and themes and events of what's going to be going on in November 2025. It's a very interesting month. There's definitely some memorable things that will be happening with Mercury being retrograde. There's also a lot of strangeness with Uranus. It's Scorpio season. We have a Grand Water Trine. There are so many strange, unusual things happening this month, and it's not bad, it's just unusual. So I want to go through it. I want to talk to you about it. Let me start with what is going on, and I'm actually reading. So I'm kind of still figuring out how to do this. So, okay. So what I want to go over first is the current chart as of right now. I'm going to put it right over my little buddy right here and make sure that that's good. Make sure there's room right there. Okay, so one of the things immediately that is just that we are looking at the moment, we have the sun in Scorpio and the moon in Cancer. Both are at 17 degrees. So the sun and moon are both at 17 degrees right now. Sun is in Scorpio, moon is in Cancer. Okay, let's move on to Mercury. Mercury is in 6 degrees Sagittarius and about to go retrograde. Venus and Mars, they are both at 3 degrees of different signs. So just like the sun and moon. So Venus and Mars are both at 3 degrees. Venus is at 3 degrees Scorpio. Mars is at 3 degrees Sagittarius. Then we have Jupiter and Saturn. We're literally going down the list of planets and they're like pairing up because we have so many trines right now. So we have Jupiter in 25 degrees Cancer, and we have Saturn in 25 degrees Pisces retrograde. Okay, that's weird. Then we have our two, I call in my head, I kind of think of them as like the freaks, the freak table in school, probably because I wasn't even cool enough to be at the freaks table. So I kind of look up to them as like, oh wow, they're so cool. So anyways, we've got Uranus and Neptune, some very fascinating planets. Uranus is at 29 degrees Taurus retrograde. Neptune is at 29 degrees Pisces retrograde. And then Pluto, little weirdo Pluto, the third at the weirdo table, is at 1 degrees Aquarius. We have some other, like, Lilith is in 25 degrees Scorpio. We also have Chiron in 23 degrees Aries retrograde. So those are all fascinating. We have so many things going on. We have the sun trining the moon, Jupiter, and Saturn. We have the moon trining Saturn. We have Mars trining Neptune, Jupiter trining Saturn, Jupiter trining Neptune, Uranus trining Pluto, Lilith trining the moon, Jupiter, and Saturn, and Neptune. We have so much stuff going on right now. Okay, so the Grand Water Trine occurs in the 3 water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. The planets involving are Jupiter and Cancer. So we also have Saturn and Neptune and Pisces. And then we have kind of an array of planets marching through Scorpio. So what I want to go through first is just one of the many aspects going on here is going to be Jupiter in Cancer. So Jupiter is very expansive, and wherever he ends up, he expands that area. The way I think of it is like he amplifies it. So also how I personally think of Jupiter, this is probably really silly, but I think of Jupiter as the ghost of Christmas Present in the, particularly in the Muppets rendition of A Christmas Carol. So I know it's not incredible, it's not exactly literary, it's not accurate to the book exactly, but the ghost of Christmas Present in that story is very jovial and kind of stereotypically round and kind of, but I think of like expansive, like he's got the jovial laugh. He's like, ha, 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 ha. Basically kind of like Santa Claus. Like, I think I've heard astrologers refer to Sagittarius and or Jupiter as like the Santa Claus placement, or planet or sign, but that's the way that I tend to think of. Anytime I think of Jupiter, I think of just kind of like this big Muppet with like the long wild hair, the fur trimmed, the chest kind of showing. He's got this appetite. He just wants to feast and laugh and love and bring all of this abundance to everything. He has a positive outlook. He doesn't really sit around and worry about the past or the future. He's the present. He's like very philosophically zen, almost kind of like, let's just be, but with a mix of like hedonism, of course, or enjoyment of what is here in the present. So that's how, side note, of course, but that's how I think of Jupiter. Okay, he is like really getting into that game. So anywhere where Jupiter is my point here. Anywhere where Jupiter is going to be expansive, is going to be amplified, luck, abundance, things like that. So Jupiter is in Cancer. While it's in Cancer, Jupiter's bringing luck and positivity to all the areas associated with Cancer. So our emotions, our nurturing activities, our homes. If we are mothers, it's our role as mothers. It's also our relationship with our own mother. There can be nostalgia, there can be comfort, there can be it's an area of the zodiac that kind of rules the breast. So there can be like connotations with feeding or love, the heart energy. So that is kind of what should be expanded by Jupiter being in Cancer, could be our desires to tend to our homes, our hearths, our children, our pets, things like that. We might want to redecorate. We might want to get like a bunch of new bed sheets or do like a color thing, or it's that nesting sort of home, lunar, the moon. Okay, so then we have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And that was where I mentioned the exact degrees again. Neptune is in 29 degrees Pisces retrograde, and Saturn is in 25 degrees Pisces retrograde. So Neptune being in Pisces is kind of in a comfortable place there. Saturn doesn't do horrible there from my experience. And then, so Neptune will be staying in Pisces now until January of 2026. And then it's going to finally be settling in its new place in Aries. it did give us a little glimpse of what it will be like in Aries, but then it went back into Pisces for like a last dance sort of thing, is usually what people will call it or whatever. But so we're still in Neptune for a little bit longer in Pisces, okay? So Neptune is still in Pisces for a little bit longer. So, and Saturn's in Pisces as well. So Saturn is a patriarchal type of father figure. He's kind of disciplinarian. He's kind of strict. He likes deadlines, rules, limitations, and order, time and strictness, restrictions. And he reminds you that the clock is ticking and that one day you will die. So Neptune is always about dreams, being psychic gifts, abilities, anything. People usually use the word nebulous when it comes to Neptune. So Neptune is doing great in Pisces, honestly. But Saturn is trying to bring some base or structure or order to the creative process or to spirituality. The spirituality in your life. Maybe you are going to be experiencing a restructuring of your spiritual beliefs or your sort of the timeline of your spiritual experiences. We could also say you may be putting more structure to your creative processes or habits or experiences. It's not entirely, at first glance, it's not entirely natural for the creative process to be put into a strict or rigid outline or structure, but sometimes too much freedom is actually kind of stifling for the creative process. It kind of comes close to like necessity is the mother of invention, that kind of thing. But, it's kind of like if you say, hey, draw a picture, some people are just like, they don't even know what to do. But if you're like, well, draw a picture, but the lines can only be going up and down and they can only be primary colors or secondary colors or whatever. It makes people get a little bit more outside the box when they have some restrictions. We do see a lot of, during times of lots of like social and political upheaval, there does tend to be really amazing artistic, what do they call them? Not epiphanies, but like booms of like schools of art or thought or music. They do tend to happen when people are more kind of between a rock and a hard place. So Saturn being in Pisces along with Neptune, I can see that enhancing, a lot of creativity, a lot of like for artists, musicians, writers, anything that takes, dancers, anything that's like that Pisces creativity. And it's going to give some structure to it, which can help it because maybe it's too wishy-washy without some. Then we also have an array of planets marching through Scorpio. So Scorpio being like the most transformative sign. And we have this third aspect of the Grand Trine is giving us this big grand array of transformation across everything. So the main energies that I see coming out of the Grand Water Trine, we'll see major dissolving of structures, great massive cleansings in many ways. So your home, your physical being and body, your mind, your spiritual beliefs, so much of you and your world is subject at this time to all of this water energy, so much water energy in so many signs or so many planets. So the healing, hydrating, cleansing, purifying, rinsing, all of these actions we think of with water, that is going on in so many ways in our life for much of this next month. Boundaries, blurring, timelines, processes, the lines between things kind of blurring, lots of emotions, of course, but also lots of transformations. This is Scorpio season. So we're talking depth and penetrative, probing of like, I know it's like, I'm using the greatest words here. So situations and activities can have the effect of revealing truths and digging deep for meaning, for transformation. We're talking, Scorpio is like deep, dark, still water. Just heard him yell this. It's not so we're not talking surface. We're not talking something that just kind of passes on by. It doesn't change us. We're talking a lot of transformation. Creative projects will have new life pushed through them. So the way I see it is like when you get an IV, because I am constantly getting dehydrated in the climate that I live in, because my body does not like not being near the ocean. So I've been in the hospital like I don't even know how many times getting fluids pushed through me. That's how I think of this, is like all of this creativity, all of this water energy is going to be pushing through your creative energy and reviving it and hydrating it and giving it all of this water energy, the water dynamics, you know. Trines are so Grand Water Trine. So a Grand Water Trine, a trine is the energy of a trine. I'll put like the picture right here showing just the trine. It is an energy that moves swiftly with almost no resistance. So it can indicate very quick, efficient, like it's like greasing up gears. It's like the actual energy moving is quick. It's like a dominoes, like bam, 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 bam. So while the energy is cycling through all of these planets with all of them in water signs, it can be a little bit overwhelming especially for some of the signs. It's something that if you generally struggle with water energy due to either just the way that who you are with your natal chart or however you are, it can be challenging. And with this swiftness of the Grand Water Trine, it's kind of like a lot. But it's not a horrible month. It's just we've got so much still in retrograde. We've got the Grand Water Trine. We've got Mercury doing really bizarre things. We've got Uranus taking some just pushing like the unexpected on us. My prediction for the next month, and this is, I don't even know what day it is, November 9th today. So my prediction for this month is that I think we're going to see something that is so unexpected. Excuse me. Something that is so unexpected that there's not really a way I can even like make out the form or the shape of it in order to even like give a little bit of a preview. To me, it's something almost like cloaked, and it's like, but it's huge and it's going to happen very soon. That's how I feel the energy is coming because of how everything is working with all the different aspects, with Uranus, with everything. One thing I do want to get into is also the anaretic degree, because that is part of what my username is about anyways. So it's kind of a thing I like to focus on. The 29th degree. So, for example, Neptune being in Pisces in this Grand Water Trine. Neptune is in 29 degrees Pisces right now. And I want to go over the Sabian symbol for that. So 29th degree of Pisces, there's a few different actual Sabian symbols for it. The one I wanted to talk about was the Great Stone Face, which apparently is inspired by the Nathaniel Hawthorne story. Who, I mean, Nathaniel Hawthorne is like one of my top 5 writers that I just am obsessed with. The Great Stone Face. It's not even that long. It's like a few pages. It's about inner ideals, daily habits, and principles coming from the inside, becoming external, or somebody basically coming to resemble something that they strive for. It can be about you admire something, so you over time end up emulating it. And that can be physically emulating something, but also the internal showing on the outside. To me, I think that's really reminiscent of recent energies that I've been sensing over the last few months, where I do remember mentioning one where I felt like there was a time recently where how do I say it? I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. So it's almost like, and I can't remember which aspect this was, but I remember what I was saying about it. So it was like all of the details that make up who we are, like our daily habits. There was a time recently where all of those things it was like we could see all of them in an array, and we saw how each one contributed in micro amounts to the whole of who we end up as, what we are right now and what we're becoming. And that, to me, so the 29th degree Pisces Sabian symbol is kind of like a final self-actualization of that. It's like you become what you focus on. You become what you want to be. You become what you stare at every day. You become what you are around. And there's so much that can be connected to right now in many, many, many ways in just the world around us. Let me see what else I was going to talk about. And so just to wrap that up, like, it's basically a spiritual culmination. This whole process with all of the time, we are right before the point where these planets are about to shift, and there's going to be a great shift of like the planets are all going to be moving into new signs, right? And like, for example, Neptune is about to move into Aries in January of 2026, and the other signs are moving also. And so this is kind of like a last chance to feel, process, organize, clean things out before we start on this next new journey. So that's how I feel it energetically, is like we're about to embark in this new adventure, this is our last little chance to like wrap things up and feel the energies that we've been feeling, and then let it rinse off, let it wash through us, wash off of us, clean, ready for the next, you know, the next array of the next setup of how these planets will be. That is a whole giant topic. I just can't stop coughing, sorry. So this could be kind of like a last chance road trip, sort of, or like a goodbye trip of just the energies that we've been going through for so long. It's time to take them, nurture our lives, nurture ourselves, process things, add more water to our lives in every way, wash everything, feel everything, and get ready for the next step, which is going to be new and exciting, and we haven't felt a lot of these energies before, so, or for a while, so it's going to be a new seating arrangement basically, and it's exciting. I am ready for it. So I hope with the rest of the month you have I can't stop coughing. Excuse me. I hope that for the rest of the month you have much healing, creative inspiration, positive spiritual experiences. You will see your spiritual beliefs shifting and kind of going through climbing to like a next level sort of thing. I hope that it is as pleasant for you as possible through the Mercury retrograde. I hope that the Uranus experience that we're going through for November, and whatever mysterious, strange things that it's going to bring us, which I really can't feel out yet. I don't think anybody can. I think that's kind of the point. I think that it's kind of I think that it's kind of cloaked for us at this point. But I think we're going to get a very shocking, drastic, so funny. We're going to get a shocking, drastic, new perspective or event that causes a new perspective. Generally, this is going to occur more on a world scale, country scale than personal, but personal is definitely there too. I hope everybody stays safe and has a wonderful holiday or Thanksgiving holiday season. There's some really cool holidays this month, and if you have any ideas, like, let me know what you have been experiencing with these placements lately, how the Grand Water Trine has been affecting you, and in what houses and such, and let me know how you're doing. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and many blessings, and take care.